Hello, welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. Now, what I've got today is these molds that make crochet hooks. Now, I've had a lot of comments about these, a lot of questions about these, and everybody seems to have had a bit of a disaster with them. Either they're not casting very well, they go out of shape, or they just bend and break really easily. So what I thought I would do is test out the mold. Now, they've all got the sizes on them, which is great, but I'm going to see if I can work out a way of not only making them, but making them so they're a little bit more robust than they would be if you just filled them with resin. And I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve. I'm not saying it's going to work, because it may not, because I purposely didn't buy these molds thinking that they wouldn't work. After having so many questions, I thought, I've got to give it a go. One of the things that I am going to do with these hooks is I'm going to make some with just resin to see how well they bend and what happens to them. And the other thing I'm going to do is I've got an old coat hanger here, and I find coat hanger metal is really quite strong, much stronger than just normal aluminium wire. And also, the ones that I've got, that I keep, have got a coating on them as well. So they're not likely to make a mark or anything in the resin. I don't think I'm going to put it into the hook itself, the hook part there. But what I am, look at that mold. It's got a rip in it already, even before I even start. So the quality of these molds just isn't fabulous anyway. But there we go. So I'm just going to measure up a few of these like this and cut the coat hanger to the lengths that I want them, and I can pop that inside the resin. Well, I've got my resin mixed up now, and obviously I'm going to have to apply this with a pipette. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this by just free pouring it, because I just get it everywhere. Now I'm pushing the actual PU resin, polyurethane resin I'm using for the first two here, into the bottom of this mold, and trying to get as much into the hook end as I possibly can before I put this piece of cut coat hanger into them. And now I'm topping this up. Now, with it being a PU resin, to be honest, this should be cured within about, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, but I'm going to leave them all for the same amount of time to cure them. I'm squidgy-widgying as much as I possibly can, because I can see there are so many trap bubbles in this tip because of the shape of it, and I want to avoid as many trap bubbles as I possibly can, because that would be detrimental to the needle. These are such flimsy little molds that you have to be really careful not to knock them over and spill all the resin out. So this is the second one with the PU resin. I'd just like to say a quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. And if you'd like to benefit from being a member of my channel and all the perks you get, then the link for that is in the description below. So this two I'm doing, I'm not adding the metal to them. So we're going to have a comparison of whether the metal rods makes any difference whatsoever here. So again, filling this up, I will have to make sure that I do quite a bit of squidgy-widgying. And again, I'm really being careful not to knock them over. And that's what I'm using these sticks for, because once they're full, they're even more unbalanced. So now I'm using this stick to get it as straight as possible as well, because it has took on it. Oh no, I've dropped it. And oh, I've dropped it again, and it's all gone out. So, oh, so messy. And so I have to top this up. But they do kind of take on a natural bend. Bursting any bubbles that come up the top, because I don't want that to create a rough top surface. Now what I'm using is a normal epoxy resin. I've used an art resin for this, because I know that that is what the majority of people use. Although a casting resin would probably be better, because it would dry and cure a little bit harder. Again, having difficulties with this one with the bubbles. I think I'm pushing more bubbles into it than I'm actually taking out of it, and getting a little bit frustrated with it. But hopefully some squidgy-widgying will help this. So fill this up all the way along again. And again, I will go over them to make sure that there are no bubbles on the top that could be rough. I want to say a quick thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your generosity and support. And all your names are on my coffee board. Now, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, the link for that is in the description below. And you'll get your name on my coffee board for next month. So these two are the... Oh no, another one's gone over. Oh look, at least not too much resin came out of it. So these are the two with the clear resin and the metal in. Look how much mess I'm making just doing these small molds. They should have made them out of thicker silicone or in one large flat block. I think that would have been much easier. And these now are the two that are going to be without the metal rods in them. So we've got 4 with metal rods, we've got 4 without, each time 2 with epoxy resin and 2 with polyurethane resin. And what we'll do is we'll leave these overnight to cure up, and then we'll come back to them. These have all cured up now, and actually I left them 2 days to ensure that they were as solid as they could be. I don't want to do anything that is going to be intentionally negative towards these moulds, because I think they're going to do that for themselves. So the ones I put the metal in, or the piece of metal coat hanger with the PU resin, they did cure up really, really quickly. Firstly, are quite difficult to get out. Now that is, I have to say, that is a lovely smooth, beautifully smooth hook, but it has got a little tiny air bubble in there, despite all the squidgy widgying, which I think is going to be detrimental to the wool. It's also really, really strong. I can't see that that's going to bend, but it is a little bit rough here where the mould meets the top. So you're going to have to sand that down, because if not, that's going to be quite uncomfortable in your hand. And that is a 7mm one, so that's one of the larger ones, and I definitely think that has worked not too bad, apart from that little air bubble that's in the tip. Now this one hasn't got an air bubble in the tip, but it has still got that roughness on here, so you would have to sand that down to make that nice and smooth, because you don't want that in your hand when you're using it. And again, that one is really quite hard. That isn't going to go anywhere. I think that one would be fine to use. Yeah, it's almost flawless. That one would be fine, and that certainly does make a big difference having that metal in there. The clear ones with the epoxy resin as opposed to the PU resin or polyurethane resin, well, that one I didn't obviously get any resin in the tip, so that's a complete in it. I mean, what are you going to use that for? I might use it for something. I don't like waste. Even though I give these as much of a squidgy widgy as I possibly could. And that one again, look, air bubble there, so that's not going to be a good... I just can't see how these moulds are worth the effort and the time. So they're the ones with the metal in. They are strong enough to use. There's definitely no doubt about it. And now this is the one without the metal in. God, they're so awkward to get out. Again, bit missing off the tip, tiny little air bubble in there, despite... Now, if you put them in a pressure pot, that might not happen. But look how bendy that is. I mean, who's going to want that? And also, as it gets warmer in your hand, that is going to bend quite a lot. Let's have a look at the PU one that has no metal in. Oh, again, definitely a nice smooth end to that one. Would need sanding. There's no air bubble in that at all. But even with the PU, that is a little bit bendy. But I think that would be usable. Slightly smaller one. Tiny little air bubble got in there, so that's going to split your wool and do things with it. And again, that is quite bendy. And then the large one, no air bubble in that one, so that's come out okay. The hook's okay. You would need to sand this off down here, there's no doubt about it, because that is quite harsh. And that hasn't got too much bend in it, so I think that large size, the 8mm one, would be okay at a push. Definitely putting the metal in them gives them a lot more strength and rigidity. If anyone's going to go to all the effort of making these, then I think putting the metal in will make a massive difference. You really have got to squidgy widgy these to death, because you don't want these little bits on this tip of this hook. You've also got to ensure that you sand these down, because I think they'll make your hands quite sore. Overall, that one's not too bad. The larger ones seems to be the better ones. I think these moulds are just not worth the effort and the money and the time and the wastage that you're going to get from them, because if you get a little bit of a bubble in one, then it's finished. I think complete waste of money, complete waste of time, and there's much better things that you could be making with resin than these. Definitely. Let me know if you've had any success with them yourself, or what methods you've used in the comments below. My suggestion would be buy yourself some crochet hooks, because they can't be as expensive as making... Look how bendy that one. I mean, that wouldn't be no good. Within minutes you'd have that broken, and it's so rough. And by the time you've taken off the edges, sanding it down, it's going to be smaller than what you had in the first place. Well, I hope you found this is useful. My advice, don't buy them. They're a complete waste of money, resources and everything. But if you have used them successfully, then let me know in the comments below how you've done that. Please boot that like button. It really helps my videos to get out there and makes me smile. And if you're a first-time viewer, then hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I'll leave the links to these in the description below, although I don't recommend you buy them. And the link, if you want to buy me a coffee, is in the description below as well. Take care, enjoy your resin, bye.